Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, and this is the great day of the Feast of Tabernacles known as Sukkot, and we have gathered here today to fellowship, to learn about his calendar, and to learn about the mysteries as well on tabernacles and as well on the atonement. Forgive me, y'all. And we want to share with you some things with you, some divine things. Let me change my screen. I want to make this whole. We want to share some divine things with you to reach out to the brothers and sisters who may feel like they're alone, but you are not alone. Okay. Let me turn the volume down on my phone too, so y'all won't hear the feedback. Oh, shucks. Go back in. Turn this down. There we go. All right. Some of you may feel like you're alone. You may feel different because of what the things the Most High has shown you, that you don't feel comfortable sharing with anyone else because the world gonna write you off as crazy, even with your own people who call themselves Hebrew Israelites, even with your family. And this goes for the Gentiles too. And we are here letting you know you're not the only one. There are many others like you, but the Most High has scattered us out to the others. Okay. This is the purpose of us meeting, so we can fellowship as a family. This is not a group. This is not a cult. This is not an organization. This is the people of YAH coming together as a family, just as we do it as a family reunion, reaching out to one another, connecting to one another, so we can minister to one another in these times of the last days. Okay? Give me 1 second, y'all. I got to add this link to my Facebook page so they know we're on live and we're doing a Google session. So just bear with me. My mind had to think how to do it. Let's see. Let me go to my channel. I had to talk out loud, y'all. Sometimes when it comes to multitasking, I have to really focus on what I'm doing. Let me see here. There we go. Copy and paste. And let me go here and add this link to this post. There we go. And then let them know we are on live. And then I'm going to just share it to a couple groups that I'm in Facebook. Okay. Just a couple, not all, y'all, because I'm in a ton of groups. But it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. Okay. Let me share to another group. Just bear with me. There we go. And this one. Oh, I see why that's not doing that. Okay. Here we go. Facebook used to have an option where you can share to more than one group at one time. You don't have to keep going back in there more than once. But I think they changed the game when they knew us Hebrew Israelites what we were doing. Okay, what else was coming to my mind? Let's see here. I keep hitting the wrong letter. Okay. And then what else? What was the other group? I'm trying to remember my sister's name. I got to find her group, and that should be it. Let me take that back. That should be next to the it. Let me find this sister group, because sometimes it's hard for me to remember their name. I got part of the name, but I'm not for sure, so I had to scroll down my list just to find it. Let me try this word. Let's see, can I pull it? Here you go. That's the group I was looking for. Now we can begin. All right. So I can minimize this. I'm trying to see, I can minimize that now. Take all this green stuff out. I like stuff to be simple. All right. Now back to what I was sharing with y'all. So we're reaching out to those who've been quiet, who is in the background, who've been watching, who've been listening. Okay. Now, for those who have joined us on live, please let me know if you can hear us, because I need to know, because the things that we're going to share with y'all comes from heaven above. Which leads us to this, the title of this video. This is our Google meeting session. We do study the Most High Calendar, for we learn from the word that it relates to biblical prophecies. It gives the foreshadowing what was, what is, and was yet to come to the following. To YAHUAH HaMashiach, who is the Messiah, the Anointed One, the second Adam, the Son of God. It also deals with the principalities, because y'all, there is a mystery or a message that the Roman Christian church been keeping from you about these principalities. And some of the Hebrew Israelite is not going to go there because they're not going to understand it. Okay? So yes, the calendar foreshadow with that as well. Then it also deals with the heavenly things to come that was established in the beginning. Because when you look at the videos that's been coming out late on the channel, we've been going deep into the word. We've been going deep into tabernacles as well as atonement, looking at Torah and seeing what Torahs were showing unto us. See, it's more than just practicing the task. The task was teaching you mysteries, messages. And for the last group, it also will give you the understanding of how these groups are established and what would take place with them from the past to the present to the future. And they are the bride of the Messiah, the 144,000, and the nation of Israel. Also, if there's a brother and sister on this panel you like to reach out you like to reach out to and to fellowship, let me know, and I will share their contact information, because like I say, it's about us connecting. Again, this has nothing to do with belonging to a group. We get out this group thing, because the word said there's only one God, one Elohim. There's only one Son. There's only one Ruach. So therefore, there's only one family. No more divisions. For what unite us is his spirit. When YAHUAH HaMashiach come dwell in you, that what unite us. So it's time to us to what? Behave as a family. It's time for us to show love to one another. Which remind me of this. For those who've been showing love unto me, I have a praise report that will be coming out. I don't want to put it with this video. I want it separate, because Father was showing me something. He was teaching me something. So that praise report will be coming out. Okay. But the Father needs for us to operate now in his love. He showed us the example to follow. Now it's time for us to put his love into action. Okay. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to have each of my brothers and sisters to introduce themselves. And if y'all want to say anything, besides introduce yourself, please feel free to do so. We're going to start at the top We're going to start with Sister Love for All. Hold on. Hold on, sis. Hold on, sis. Let me go on mute. Okay. You good. Okay. Thank you, sis. Now we'll go to Brother Ron. Brother Ron. Thank you, my brother. Now we go to Brother Bishop Rob. Thank you, my brother. But this is Brother Bishop Rob. Now we will go to Sister Evelyn, which is a mother unto us.
I'm just glad to be here.
Thank you, my sister. Now we will go to Sister Sherry. Thank you, my sister. The reason why I'm smiling because I know some of them are shy, but when they begin to speak, the shyness gonna go away. So just hold on, bear with us. Now we're gonna have our mother. Now have patience with our mother and our sister, for she's 72 years old, y'all. Okay, so let me get her on the speaker. Hold on, mother. Let me take this thing off. Okay. Let me turn my volume back up so everyone can hear you. All right, mother. This is Sister and Mother Audrey. You may speak.
Shalom, shalom. I am just glad to be in the midst of God's people, God's people on the Sabbath. It is just a blessing for me to be here and to just fellowship with other believers in Yeshua. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, my mother. Okay. What we're going to do first, we're going to open our Bibles to the book of Genesis. And we're going back to Genesis chapter 1. And we're going to read verse 1 through 5 because, like I said, he's speaking many things unto us, which going to lead us to share with you some divine things. Okay? Because we know we are in the time of his judgment. We are in the time of his visiting the earth. We can see it. It's going worldwide. So why we are in this time, the next thing you need to ask yourself, how should we prepare in his time of visitation? Ooh, I like that, y'all. How should we prepare ourselves in this time of his visitation? I'm going back to the title after this session over and add that part to it. Okay, that is the question we should ask ourselves now in this season, and Tabernacle is speaking heavily on it, as well as atonement. So open your Bibles. And mother, because I can't turn my volume down, let me see. Maybe I can. They may hear you in the background, okay? So just want to make you aware, okay?
All right.
All right. Okay. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 1 where it all began. If I can have someone to read Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 through 5. Hold on, sis. Okay, hold on. Let me put myself on mute. Thank you, sis. Yes, to 5. Yes, sis, to 5. Thank you. Wow. Y'all, some deep stuff. Okay. What's coming to my mind? These are the key words. Remember, this was in the beginning. Darkness was upon the face of the deep. So write down the word darkness. Darkness existed. Then we see the spirit of YAH moved upon the face of the waters. Now that spirit of YAH is dealing with the word, YAHUAH HaMashiach. The precept for that verse can be found in John chapter 1. John chapter 1. And I'm going to read that verse to you quickly so you can understand both of them chapters, so you can see the connection. John, we're going to the book of John. You don't, not able to hear me? Let me see what's going on. Let me see. How about now? Can you hear me? Try to make sure. Can you hear me? Okay. My brother, check your speaker. Do you have any headphones? See if that help, my brother. Do you have any headphones? Oh. Is that working, my brother? And that reminds me, if your headphones don't have a speaker what you do is take the headphones out when you need to speak, so that way we can hear you when you need to speak. While we wait for our brother to get that straightened out, for those who want to connect with us, if you see your brothers or sister on this panel you want to reach out to fellowship or to receive ministry from, call or text me at 919-972-8970. I please ask you to identify yourself so I can speak with you to share that information. Okay? 919-972-8970.
I cannot hear you, sis. I cannot hear you.
I tell you what, my brother, log back out and then come back in. Log back out and then come back in. Sometimes with these devices and the apps, it messes with their with your microphone or with your speaker. Oh, thank you. Let me text him. Thank y'all. See, my family keeping me straight. Oh, okay. Okay. That'll help him out. While we wait for them to get that straightened out, let me see what we can chat about, while we wait for them to come in, because I want everybody to be together. Okay. Yes. Yes.
That I didn't know before. Y'all spirit moved upon the face of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Was always there, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't created. You know what I mean?
All things were created, but when you read these different books, some don't give deeper details than other. But when we come in the whole volume of the book, we know all things was created by him. Mm-hmm. Yes. Because the living words who it tied to, as well as the glory of YAH. But that is a very good question, and I'm glad you point that out, because I didn't even think about that. The waters were already there, right? when we start reading Genesis, just as the darkness. Mm-hmm. While we waiting for they to get straight, I'm just gonna get my fingers on where I need to take you to. So while they're waiting for they get straight, this will bring the other one up to board. In the last two sessions we had, we learned where the light came from. We also learned what the light symbolizes. Remember, carnal things going hand with spiritual things. We also learned, and we're going to touch on again today in this session, about what makes up a day. A day, because sometimes we may get confused with the English word as well with the Hebrew words, because some of the Hebrew words can stand for more than one thing, but we have to look at the context of the verse, which also brings us to this. We begin to understand when the service or when the fellowship of that holy day take place, because there have been some confusion about that. When we look at the 7-day rest, known as the Shabbat, the Sabbath, when we look at Peshat, known as Passover, and when we look at atonement. So when we go back to the foundation of all things, which is the beginning of all things, it would explain why we have the holy day, the entire day, to begin on that day, but the service or the fellowship took place within the phases of that day. And the phases of that day that I'm talking about is night and light. Some of them took place at evening, at the going down of the sun, and some of them took place in the morning. And this is where many people are getting confused on. Okay, they're getting confused on when his holy day starts versus when his holy service starts. And if you have a copy of the work of Josephus, he gives examples of that. Okay, but if you don't, just by reading Torah alone will give you understanding of that. Because remember, our people didn't dwell in a time of technology or being modernized. Think about it now, y'all. I want y'all to really think. If we take away the electricity and we take away the sewer and the indoor plumbing, okay, if we take away all of these things, what is left? What is left is what the Father made for us to use, which will give you a greater understanding about Torah and when his holy days begin and when his holy feast service begin. Something to think about, something to meditate. Okay? All right. I'm glad my brothers are back. Then we'll get back on point. So we're going to go to our sister just read Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 through 5. And we're going to go to John chapter 1. And we're going to read verse 1 through 3 for right now. Verse 1 through 3. Okay? I'm going to type that in the comment section on the live session. John chapter 1. And we're going to read verse 1 through 3. And if somebody on the Google session that's real comfortable in the comment section, also type in John chapter 1, verse 1 through 3. All right. I'm going to read the chapter summary to you first. For the summary of chapter 1 says, the divinity, humanity, and office of Yahushua the Messiah, the testimony of John, the testimony of John, the calling of Peter, the calling of Andrew, Peter, etc. Verse 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yah, and the Word was Yah. Now this verse can trip some people up. This is why when you read in the second verse, when we get to the second, it gives us the precept to Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. But what we're going to do first, we're going to continue to read the other two verses and be coming back to verse 1 and 2. Verse 2. The same was in the beginning with Yah. That word, the same. The same. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. It's telling us something deep about that spirit of Yah. Okay? Now we're going back to verse 1 and verse 2. We'll read verse 1 again. It said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Yah, and the Word was Yah. The same was in the beginning with Yah. You want to underline the word same because now we're going to get a deeper definition about the Hebrew word Yah. The Hebrew word Yah. For when we look up the Hebrew word Yah, it means what? The same. When we go deeper in the whole volume of the book, it means they are one. And the one means they operate. They work together in the same manner as husband and wife. Okay, this what trips up a lot of Roman Christians. I have to say Roman Christians because the Christianity of today is heavily in the doctrines of the Roman Christianity. This is where they get tripped up at. Okay, that's what the same means. The one, the Elohim head, which is made up of what? The Father being first, then the Son, and then the Ruach, who's known as what? The glory of Yah, also known as the beauty of holiness, also known as the seven eyes and the seven spirits of Yah. So they are the same, meaning that they are on one accord. And know how us as children, we go to our parents to ask them something, and your father say no to you, and then you think you're gonna be slick and say, well, if I go to my mother, she gonna give me the yes. But as parents, what we taught, you don't want to accord. So the mother gonna tell what the child no. In other words, just as the father, the mother tell that child no because they're on one accord and they agree. The same is with the Elohim head. They have the same mind. They're gonna tell you the same thing. They're not gonna be contrary to one another. Okay? Do y'all see the connection of the same? All right. So we go back to verse 1. It said, Yahushua, who is the word, was with our father. So when we go back to Genesis 1, we see that he was with our father when our father began to what? Create his creations. Right there with him, right? So he was with him. And it goes on to say the word was God. Now let me break that down because a lot of Hebrew Israelites have a hard time with that because, in the English language is not specific. Sometimes you have to go before our Father in heaven and ask him, what does this mean? Okay. For the word tells us there are what? Many lords and many gods, but we got the one true God who is above all, right? That's in the book of Corinthians. Do a word search. There are many lords and there are many gods, and that's true. That is true. But when it comes to our Father in heaven, he is saying, and I am the God, I am above all of them, okay? And you don't give my honor and glory to another. In other words, you don't put him as the same as the others, okay? Because when we look at the Son do have his own honor. He shall receive, but he would not take place of his Father. Everything would be in divine order. For he takes what? His orders, his instructions from his Father. For he said in the book of John chapter 8, okay, he says that if you have seen me, you have seen the Father, for my Father has taught me all things. So he's going to perform and do in the same manner as his Father. Okay. This is why when we read in the prophet Isaiah, it says his name will be called Emmanuel, which means God with us, because we will see God through him, for he bear his Father's spirit. That's how our Father will manifest himself unto us. That's how our Father in heaven will show us him through his Son. Another mystery that many are not understanding. Okay. So now we got the breakdown of the same, because all three can perform what? The same. Okay. Just as a man and wife, they work as one, the same mind. So they're going to talk the same. They're going to walk the same. They're going to tell you about the same commandments. They're going to tell you the same instructions. So you cannot go to each entity, to each spirit, and try to get what you want if it goes against what the Father say. Because the glory of Yah, which is the Ruach, going to tell you, worship your Father in heaven. The Son of Yah is going to tell you, as we see written in Matthew 4 and Luke 4, what? Worship your Father in heaven, for there's only one God. Do you see this? So the word was with our Father in heaven. And verse 3 goes further to break it down. It says that all things was made by him, and without him was not anything made that was. So in other words, when the Father spoke it, the word went forth and created it. Just like that. Again, it's hard for some to grasp these spiritual things because they don't understand the power that our Father has. They don't even understand the power that his Son has because they come from him. The Ruach come from him, the Son come from him, and they perform in the same manner as the Father. So why do you not think they won't be able to do what? To perform these things. This is why the Messiah said in the book of Hebrews, all things was made by me, because my Father commanded me to make them. This is why I know you. Okay? Deep here. Very deep. Now, I do see another precept. Let me check that out right quick if we need to look at that precept. Okay, the precept for that verse is in Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. If my Google section can type that in, it's Colossians chapter 1, verse 16. As y'all see here, I put my fingers in certain spots. Okay. And when we read Colossians chapter 1, verse 16, it says this: For by him were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible and invisible. Now, for those who are in science, we learned there are organisms that we cannot see with our eye unless we what? Put them underneath a microscope. There are things that are around us that we cannot see with our eye, just like the air, but we know it exists. The air will remind you what? Of the breath, which is the breath should remind you of what? Of the spirit, which should remind you what? Of the glory. Anyway, but let me keep going. So it said, for by him were all things created that are in heaven, that are in earth, visible and invisible. Whether they be thrones, do y'all hear this? Thrones, dominions, principalities. Principalities to remind you what? Of the angels. So now we're seeing that the Father, through his Son, created the angels, right? Or powers. Because when you learn about the angels, because one of the video on the channel that deals with the mystery of Azazel, which is a scapegoat, we go deep into that. And it's very important that you know why. Because if you know why, then you understand why the second Adam had to come. Then you understand why he is the Lamb, why he is the atonement, why he is the goat. Okay? That's a mystery about these principalities that the Hebrews and that the Christians are not teaching you. Because these want to remain hidden. They don't want you to know about them. Which is going to lead into our topic of what is coming. And I'm going to say this so I won't forget. You need to read Revelation 12. But Revelation 12 has not come into its fullness yet. But it's coming. Okay? It goes on to say, all things was created by him and for him. Verse 17, and he is before all things, and by him all things consist. By him all things still exist. For the Father has what? Given him all authority in the heaven and in the earth. Okay? For verse 17, we already got the precept of that one, which was John chapter 1, verse 3. But for silent reading, you want to read 1 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 6. Now I'm seeing what the Father doing. He's going to lead us into this spiritual discussion that we're going to have that deals with the thrones, the dominions, and principalities or powers. Okay? Deep, very deep. There's one more mystery I want to share with you that you may not know about the Father that existed in the beginning. So I'm asking you to give me a few minutes so I can give you that verse, because it's something that I didn't know, but the Father showed it unto me. Very deep. Let me go to it. I know it's in the book of Corinthians, because like I said, I'll make sure I give y'all the keywords. The keywords is darkness, spirit of YAH, and light. Those are the keywords we're focusing on. That's going to lead into our discussion we're going to share with you today. Let me see where it's at. Okay. Here it go. Y'all ready for this nugget here? It's a good one. Turn to 2 Corinthians chapter 6, and we're going to read verse 1. I'm going to type it in the live comment box, but if somebody can type it in the Google comment box, I really would appreciate it. And let me check this to make sure you're able to, because I don't want y'all to get far behind. So you have it. So let me type in what we just went over. John 1 through 3. Then we went to Colossians 1, 16 through 17. Okay. And that was with Genesis 1 through 5. Father's reminded me to share with you. Notice that this is in day 1 of creation. And you see what day 1 is revealing? It's still more. Okay. And it does relate to the calendar. And I'll get to that too. Okay, let me go back to my live stream. And we're going to 2 Chronicles. And we're going to chapter 6, verse 1. I'm sharing a nugget with you that the Father shared with me about himself. Okay. Okay. If I can get someone to read 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 1. Can I get a volunteer? Thank you, sis. Let me go to mute. So let me see. Oh, I better leave unmute. I just thought about the speaker thing, but go ahead, sis. Second Chronicles chapter 6, verse 1. You want to highlight that verse. Then we done learn something about our Father today. We learned that our Father dwelt in the thick darkness. Now we begin to understand about Genesis 1, why the darkness was there. What is coming to my mind is what we've been talking about for a few days for the brothers and sisters who've been reaching out to me. We've been talking about phone. We all had this common thing we share. We feel what? Alone. Right? And we feel like we are by ourselves sometimes. Okay? Because we too are dwelling in what? A world of darkness. A world of darkness. And many don't bear the Father's Spirit that is represented by the light. So there are times, sometimes, you get that sensation or that feeling of loneliness to come upon you. And look where it comes from. Because we made in our Father image. He too dwelt in this thick darkness, y'all. So we're learning why he what? Created things. To share. To be as a family. To not be alone. That's deep, y'all. Because when you go back to Genesis 1, it said what? In the beginning, and we skip down to verse 2, he let us know that was what? Darkness upon the earth. And the earth was what? Without form, right? So when you get to 2 Chronicles chapter 6, we learned that he too dwelt in the thick darkness. Okay? Let us go to the precept. It gives us a precept of what that thick darkness is. It's in Leviticus chapter 16, verse 2. Y'all, we're going back to Torah. Do y'all see this? We're going back to the foundation. Okay. Let me take this in. Now we're going to turn to Leviticus chapter 16, verse 2. Let me type this in my live stream comment. And remember, the earth, do we not come from the earth? So wherever the earth experienced, we too experience it now, but more spiritually. More spiritually. Leviticus chapter 16, verse 2. I'm dropped my phone. Sorry, Mom. I dropped my phone. Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to Leviticus chapter 16, verse 2. Okay. If I can have someone to read Leviticus chapter 16, verse 2. Yes. No, that was my phone that you hear in the background. Keep going. Wow. Do y'all see that? Do y'all see that? I'm getting tickled. Okay. So we beginning to see what it means when he said, I dwell in the thick darkness. Which the Father remind me of this before I break that thing down about the Father. There is another example in Torah, and the worker Josephus gives the inner detail about this darkness and about why it's dealing with a cloud. Okay? In a cloud. Remember the plague that he put upon Egypt. Then this is Exodus chapter, was it chapter 12, I believe? Or chapter, I think it's chapter 10. Hold on, let me make sure I'm going to give y'all the right chapter. Chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. Sure is. Let me make sure. Let me go to it. But in my footnote, I put Exodus chapter 20, verse 21. That's something you can read in your silent reading. Okay? But I want you to have it. Oh, I got to go up higher. Sorry, y'all. Exodus chapter 20. Oh, okay. I put it for some. Yeah, Exodus chapter 20, verse 21. That's another thing that talks about the thick darkness. And I'm going to read that verse out loud, and I'm going to put it in the comment section as well. And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where YAH was. That's another verse you want to highlight. I got my highlighter here. I had a pile of it, but highlight that, but that's not what I'm talking about. So we know our Father dwelt in the thick darkness, which is that cloud, right? That came from heaven above. That entered the tabernacle of the congregation. That settled upon or settled in the Holy of Holies. Upon the mercy seat. Wow. Do y'all hear that? He settled upon the mercy seat. Okay. Because like I said, it's another message in that, but right now I need to stay on track. So when we look at Exodus, he reminded me about the plague that he put upon Egypt. Right? Thank you, Father. I've seen how you doing this thing. He connecting all the dots of what we're going to talk to spiritually. Oh, wow. Thank you, Father. Okay. I'm about there, y'all. Let's see, can I find that plague where it starts it? Dealing with the 3 days of darkness. And I believe that's in Exodus chapter 9, but let me make sure. Because I wrote it somewhere. I wrote it in my note. It could be Exodus 9 or Exodus 8. Let me make sure. Let's see here. If somebody's eyes is better than mine, I got all this highlighting and underlining, but that was not sticking out. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. I know it's in one of these chapters about the 3 days of darkness. The 3 days of darkness. And I can't put my eye on it, y'all. Here it go. I think this is it. Let me get my eyes focused right. I see in my side note, it got clouds. And it got on the verses we was talking about, and it's in Exodus chapter 10. But let me find the direct verse. Here it goes. It's in Exodus chapter 10, verse 21. Exodus chapter 10, verse 21. And then also what we talked about, Exodus chapter 20, verse 21. Ain't that funny how them two starts in the same verse? Oh my goodness. But anyway, because you know the number 21 is a multiple of 7. 3 sevens. Wow. Okay. Like I said, he keeps talking. So when we look at Exodus chapter 10, verse 21, we are aware of the plague, where one of the plagues to put about Egypt was the 3 days of darkness. Now, how he did this and why Goshen was able to have light in their land, he caused the darkness to be occurred by clouds. Okay. Now I said clouds, they was dark and they was thick, and it kills some of the Egyptians because you can't breathe in it, because what, clouds are made of what? Water. So it was actually, they was drowning. Okay. When you read the book of Jasper, you will learn that there were some Israelites killed in this plague because they had in their heart, in other words, they was telling the father, in other words, they didn't know they was telling the father, but this was in their heart, this was their thought. They said to themselves they was not going to come out of Egypt. They said they're going to stay right there. So so what the father did, he took them out too. And what our people did, because they didn't want the Egyptian to know about it or to rejoice in that too, because you know misery love company, they buried them quietly. And that's in the book of Jasper. Because what happened then, y'all, it's going to happen again. It's a great plague. I mean, we know it's many plagues to come, but the plague I'm speaking on, we know the 3 days of darkness is coming. And we're going to talk about that as a spiritual message today. And I have sisters that can bear witness, as well as others who are on the panel. And last night we was blessed with a testimony too of that. Yeah. We're going to talk about that some. Okay. Or what is coming. All right. So when you look at the clouds of heaven, when the clouds become like a dark gray, they can even become black, like a blackish gray, but really dark. Because even last night, I noticed there was no light in the heavens, and it was like a thick cloth that came down from the heavens to the earth, where you can barely see the roads if you didn't have good light. This is how thick that darkness was, y'all. Now I know what is to come is going to be thicker than that, where you won't be able to see nothing before your eyes. Okay, it's coming. All right. So wow. So what we learn is that our Father too dwelt in a cloud in darkness. Something to think on. And when we look at Genesis 1, we see too that the earth dwelt in darkness. And then because we come from the earth, this is spiritually now, we dwell in darkness, right? Okay. All right. I'm just going back to Exodus 20 to 21. And I got my hand on the book of Leviticus. Let me go back there. So we have like I said, we just talked about the example of the plague that was in Egypt for the 3 days of darkness, and how the Father used a cloud. And Josephus go in detail of that. Okay. But we know the darkness that is to come is going to be greater than the clouds. And we had an example of that also in the gospel. For when he was on the cross, darkness came upon the earth for what? 3 hours. Which represent what? The 3 days. Wow. And the whole world experienced this, because when you read the Gentile writings, I can't think of that Gentile name, they bear a record of this darkness occurring throughout the world. But while this was a great miracle or a divine act, when you study the heavens, it occurred on a full moon day. Okay. When it occurred on a full moon day, the sun cannot be covered by the moon. So this was not a solar eclipse, because the alignment on a full moon day, on a Vid 14th, the 14th day, which was the crucifixion day, the alignment of the planets was the sun, the earth, and then the moon. So we know it's not by an eclipse. So when I did a further research, I learned of the total lunar eclipse, a total that caused complete darkness. And it still baffled man because we're trying to figure out how the Most High made this happen. Because he got great powers. He can do whatever he wants. So even that is still a mystery. Very intriguing how he caused the darkness to occur on Aviv 14th, which is the Passover day, which is the day of the crucifixion of the Messiah. That is a great miracle. In other words, it cannot be done by anyone but by the Creator himself only. Okay. So we too have what? We had the 3 days of darkness to occur in Egypt. We had the 3 hours of darkness to occur in the gospel. So it's telling us something, right? Again, you want to read Revelation 12? Okay. So when we look at Exodus chapter 20, verse 21, it really breaks down on what Leviticus chapter 16, verse 2 is saying to us. Where it says, and the people stood far off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness, which was that cloud, right? And this is where our Father dwelt. He dwelt within that cloud. And it was his spirit dwelt within that cloud. So he spoke through the cloud. Father's also to tell you, to remind you, it's not he's going to bring back the cloud, dealing with the nation of Israel. He will be a cloud by day unto them and a fire by night. So we're seeing how the past, the present, when I say present, when we learn about these spiritual things, is foreshadowing what's going to be done again. This is so why it's so important that you know Torah, that you know the old covenant, known as the Old Testament. You cannot stay in one part of the book, as well as that you know the other sacred books, such as the Apocrypha, Enoch, Jubilees, Work of Josephus, etc. Because it's going to repeat. Remember, our Father is the same. He does not change. Okay? So that's what that means. So he too dwelt in a cloud that was a darkness. So we begin to understand what led the Father to the creation of all things. We begin to understand why we have these feelings for what we bear his image. So we would be just like him. So he has feelings too. This is why on the Day of Atonement, we need to give him what? First respects. I have seen some on social media asking for forgiveness from their brothers and sisters, and they're missing the mark because the first that we hurt, that we transgress, was our Father in heaven. That's who you should be seeking first. Because they, your brothers and sisters, cannot cleanse you, cannot forgive you of what you've done. Okay? Deep here. So now we're going back to, make sure I type in those scriptures in the other box. So we did Exodus, we did 10, verse 21. Then we did 20, verse 21. Okay. We'll put O by the X here. Okay. When we go back to Genesis, we can see even through his creation, he's showing us what he has experienced too. Okay. Now we ought to touch on about the darkness. Okay. But when we look at darkness too, it represents what? Evil. It represents the principalities, who are the fallen ones, who are the watchers, right? It also shows you, when we read the prophet Isaiah writings, the prophet said unto us that our Father in heaven created what? Good and evil. And the both of them works according to his will. An example of that can be found in the book of the Kings. When the heavenly when the Elohim came together and they was taking counsel among themselves to figure out how they're going to get this king in the earth to do what Father want him to do. And an evil spirit rose up, said, send me. I'm a lying spirit. Like I said, all things work out to his good. So for us who are going through long suffering, know this. It is for our Father will. It fulfills a greater purpose. This is why the Messiah tell us when we receive him, we shall overcome all things. So hang in there, for he shall reward you greatly, because he's bringing forth his will in the earth. Okay. He also is bringing forth what should be, for we are his children. So the potter of the clay knows what he's doing. He's still molding and shaping. He is also what? A husbandry. He is working in his vineyard, pruning, okay, attending to the vine, to make sure the vine bring forth what? Good fruits that my brother Rob shared with us this morning about the fruits of the Spirit. So he knows what he's doing. It may be harsh, and sometimes you might not even understand, but know this. It will work out to his goodness that will benefit you in the end. And in the end, as written in Revelation 10, all mysteries going to be revealed. So we can say what? Ah, that's what you mean. Just like what the Messiah did with his disciples. When he what? Breathed on them. He said what? Receive ye the Holy Ghost. Receive ye the Holy Spirit. And when they receive it, their understanding begin to what? Unlock. And then they would start connecting the dots of all the things that what he preached unto them, that he taught unto them, even of the parables. And they were like, ah, now we get it. So hang in there. Talk to your Father. Just as you talk to one another, talk to him. He wants to hear you. You are his child. You are a part of his family. And he loves you so much. Okay. So the last part I want to say before we begin our divine talk, family, dealing with the light and dealing with the darkness. When we look at verse 5, it's telling us what makes up a day. It's telling us what makes up what? A calendar day. Father's telling me to remind you, for those who have not done the homework assignment, you are to go out and observe the heavens. You are to watch the night leaving out and the daylight coming in on this morning, up to the sunrise. Then at the end of the day, you are to go out and observe the heaven of the daylight leaving out and the evening coming in. Go out and observe it. And then you begin to understand his calendar, such as when a day begin and end. Okay? You got to know that. This is the foundation. This is Torah. All right? So when we look at verse 5, our Father in heaven says what? He called the light day. Now that Hebrew word, when you look it up, does mean day, which means what? Daylight. So that's what he called the light. Day. Today in the English tongue, they would say what? Daylight. And then he goes on to say that he called the darkness night. Don't y'all see? Even the darkness has a purpose. Okay? He can use the darkness to what? To bring forth good fruits. For those who understand what I'm talking about. It relates to what Daniel said unto us. He shall what? Try us. Refine us. Purify us. To make us what? White. And I ain't talking about no skin. I ain't talking about no skin pigmentation. I'm talking about the crown of glory that shall never fade away. That's written in 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 4. That was in the beginning. That was upon Adam. For we had learned in the past videos, not only do the Elohim head bear this glory, we too will bear this glory for those who are the children of the faith, the children of Abraham, who bear what? The same faith as him. We also learned that even the heavenly things that existed in the beginning, that is to come, will bear the same glory. So he can use darkness to bring forth what he made you to be, what you should be. Like the prophet Isaiah said, he created what? The good and the evil. He created the light and the night. And all his creations work towards his will. So verse 5 going to say, and the evening, which is night, and the morning, which is what? Daylight, were called the first day. You want to underline the evening and the morning was called the first day. He's already telling you what makes up a whole calendar day, which is night and daylight. First is night, because what? Night existed before what? Light. Which kind of represent the state that we're in now. Right now we are in what? The world of darkness, but soon the light will be coming forth. Oh my goodness, y'all see that? Yeah. Even though the darkness exists, he said, hold on, my children. I'm bringing forth the light. Father's telling me to remind you of what Adam experienced when he fell, because he had no knowledge about this night, about this darkness. And look what the Father gave him. He did give him a light at night to get through the darkness. So do y'all see what Genesis is doing? It's giving you the foundation of the biblical prophecies of what shall come. He just said, hold on, you won't be in darkness forever, because I'm going to bring you into the light. And we know light is a word that means what? Liberty. Which liberty shall lead us to what, Brother Bishop Rob? Jubilee. This is why we have what? The Feast of Lights, known as Hanukkah. Because he said, I'm setting you free from the powers of darkness, from the principalities. Okay? I'm setting you free from that. So you can come and what? Worship me. So you will have what? Rest, peace, joy, and happiness. So you will be what? Be my children again, as I made you to be. Yeah. You won't be like that prodigal son, or what my sister Evelyn and sister Shirley told me about. You're going to be restored back to your proper place. Do you hear me, Adam? Who are Israelites and Gentiles? This is what this book is telling us. Yeah. Because you will learn about darkness is that these principalities, y'all, did not pray fair. And when you understand that, when you understand what his prophet Enoch wrote about these principalities, do you understand why he made Sheol for them? Do you understand why he has a heavy judgment on them? They have free will just like we have free will. And they had an evil thought. And they brought it to the earth. And they caused Adam to what? To sin the utmost sin. That caused Adam to what? To be what? Cut off from the Father. Just like in Torah, when he tell you not to partake in these things, or if you come against these things, what he say? You're going to be cut off. Not only from the nation, but from me. I'm telling y'all, it's powerful. So now we get into the part that we're going to talk about, if y'all don't mind, about the 3 days of darkness, because it's coming. I have one of my brothers on Facebook who has been sharing his dreams of what the Father is showing him about this darkness is coming. And I need to say this because the title's dealing what? How to prepare for the visitation of YAH, who is God. How to prepare for it. How do we prepare ourselves that these judgments are coming? What do we do? Because you can never be 100% prepared for what's coming. You understand what I'm saying? Because you don't know when you're going to have to flee. What you going to do then? You can't take your stuff with you.
Yeah.
What you going to do then when he cut off the lights? When he cut off your water? When he cut off your food supply? What you going to do then? Okay. So, who would like to come in first to share what the Father shared with you about the 3 days of darkness? Do I have a volunteer?
Was called into the darkness to meet with YAH, right?
That's right.
But the darkness was not there in motion, it was there in people. And some of the Egyptians died to traveling darkness.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that this traveling darkness will not harm God's children.
Mm-hmm.
So if he may have us to do some things that we may think is dangerous, that we may think is, maybe harmful to us, like going out into the darkness, we need not to be afraid, first and foremost. We are very hungry, first and foremost. And definitely, with everything that he tells to do. I mean, you may have a choice of the grass and you're trying to escape. He may tell you to abandon your car and go on foot.
Ha!
We have eyes on everything. We know the path that we need to take to get to freedom. He knows where he wants us to be. And I have a feeling that the Most High is going to begin gathering us. When these things start happening, we're going to be, I believe, we're going to be gathered.
Ha!
And I don't remember, it may be on a wood somewhere. It may be in a red part of the neighborhood somewhere. But we're going to come together, we're going to be safe, and that's when his children need to stand on our line. Because there's going to be some there who have not believed the truth. That's all I can say.
I'm glad you brought all the points out, sis, because it ties into the mystery of all the feast days, even tabernacles, of what we're in, or how to be prepared. It's telling you how to be prepared, and it starts within first. Also, before the next sister speak, Sister Evelyn, towards the end, I need for you to share your dream that you share with me about the gathering, of what he showed to you about three to 4 years ago. Okay. Now, who's the next one that like to speak regarding on these 3 days of darkness that's going to come? Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. And I just want to touch on that. When you said the oil lamps, do you not know, y'all can burn olive oil and it lasts for a long time. I know I had olive oil burning in my house for 10 hours straight. And it takes nothing to make it. Yes. Remember in the Bible, that's what they use as their oil lamp, olive oil. So y'all can get olive oil. That's another thing you can burn in your house. Go to YouTube and Google it. Even we can Google it how to make an olive oil lamp, whatever, in your house. It's very simple. And it makes the brightest light. You begin to understand why the olive oil is compared to the anointing, which is the Holy Spirit, which is the Ruach. It's compared to that. This is why the prophets would go and anoint the kings with olive oil from the horn. Who is the horn? The Messiah. Who is what? The salvation of Yah. Do y'all see how this stuff going? It's going deep. Because we know the horn represent the leader, the ox head. And we know the ox heads represent what? The Aleph, the beginning. Just like we read about the word. The word was what? With the Father in the beginning. So thank you, sis. Oh, that's right. Don't forget, I need for you to talk about that dream of you going to the courts, and then that dream lead you from the courts to about the angels. Okay, that's the one I need for you to share on this video today. Okay. Okay, so I'll be coming back to you. Do I have another one who want to elaborate on the 3 days of darkness that is coming?
Yes, this is Mother Audrey. I'm just learning about everything about the darkness and everything that you've been teaching, because we didn't get this in the church. But it lets me know that y'all didn't do that.
Hold on. I see somebody say they can't hear you. So let me see what I can do first so they can hear you. And that's on my YouTube live session. Let me make sure I have. Okay. So let me see where my speaker is on this laptop. Okay, Mother, speak as loud as you can. Go ahead. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, and I see on my mic. I see your I see my mic volume going up and down. So continue to talk.
All right. You said go ahead.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What I was saying is that when he did the 3 days darkness in Egypt, he didn't keep it a secret from his people. He let them know. Y'all let them know what he was about to do, and he's doing the same thing now with this study that we are doing. And for me, it's just to repair more, get more into the word, really truly repair our spirit. Not just read this word, but study this word and walk this word and meditate on this word and think about this word, because he's letting us know that it's going to come again, and we need to be ready for it. We need to be ready for it. We need to have our sisters and our brothers. We need to come together. We need to be ready for this time, because this is going to be a serious and evil time in these last days. It's already happening, and we just need to be ready. We just need to repair ourselves more and more and more and more. Because to be honest with you, it's going to be some frightening days. It's going to be some frightening times, and we need to know who to call on. We need to know who to pray to in these last days. And it's just no joke. This is for real, for real, for real. We at the real thing of it. The real thing of it. And sometimes it can be very scary, but he said he hasn't given us the spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. But we still, because we are human, we still get fearful. That's all I have to say.
And you brought out an excellent point, because that's what we discussed last night. YouTube Live was letting me know there was the two people that couldn't hear was Sister Love for All and Sister Evelyn. And I'm going to try to bring the speaker closer so y'all can hear them as well. But she said, our mother emphasized that the Most High is going to let his people, his sheep, those who have those who have partaken in the new covenant, and for the nation of Israel that he has mercy upon, Romans 11, he's going to let them know about the forthcoming of this plague so we can be prepared. And sis, you touch on what we was talking about last night. Okay. Now, for the other two sisters, you couldn't hear. The other sister touched on how Moses was taken into the cloud, so he was in darkness before he talked to the Most High. She also touched on, I'm trying to remember what else, because it's so much y'all was given to me. Sister Love for All, can you just come back and briefly summarize what you had just told us so they can hear what you had said?
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Hold on. I see my mic is not going up and down. Where is the mic speaker? Hold on, because I may have to move the speaker to the mic area. And I got to figure out where is it on this laptop. I see the speaker part here. Okay. Say testing, 1, 2, 3 for me, sis. No, it's not picking up. Okay. Where is my mic on this thing here? I wondered if I had to put you in my speaker part. Where's my speaker part? I'm looking for my speaker part besides the plug-in piece, because I don't have, do I have a dual thing? I don't have that dual thing. And say it again, sis. Say testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing.
Try it again.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing.
Okay. For some reason, I got the speaker right in the ear. Okay, say it one more time.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing.
I wonder.
You think I need to come out?
No, this is doing with my laptop, and I'm trying to figure out because I don't have the dual plug in to my speaker. Hold on, y'all. Let me see what I have as far as wiring, because it's not picking up, and it should, but anyway, hold on. I wonder, can I come through my phone and log into the group? Hold on, Mom. If it cut you off, I'll be calling you back in. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Can I log into the group where y'all can hear what the panel is saying? And do it that way. As always, where there's a will, there's a way. Let me see where I put it first. Okay. Now let me see, can I come in? Okay, it's telling me I can't use the character here. Mom, I'm gonna have to call you right back. Let me let Sister Love and Sister Evelyn say what they need to say, and then I'll bring you back in. Okay.
All right, that's fine. Thank you.
Let me see if that works. No, it won't let me do it like that. Let me see here. Neat. Okay. Let me try going through this app and this link. Okay, I had to stall the app, y'all. Taking a little bit to install. Oh, good thing I saw this. Let me plug this phone up. I would have had a dead phone. Okay, open up the app now. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. I should be. Okay, there we go. Say after you add myself. Okay. Did that help? No. Let's see here. All right. Any feedback? Okay. I need to move. Okay. I need to mute my mic on my laptop. Okay. Is that helping? Can y'all hear me? Okay. Did that help? That's not working. I know. Okay. Did that help? I got less feedback. So I can't mute it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna bring our mother back in. Okay. So I'm gonna have to just repeat what y'all say or summarize what y'all say. Okay. So that way YouTube Live can hear what you are saying. Speaker done went off. Okay. All right.
Sis, is your mute on?
Yeah, it's on. I say I'm just going to repeat what y'all say or summarize what y'all say to our YouTube Live audience, because I don't know why my laptop is not picking up through its mic, through my speaker, because y'all coming in very loud. on this microphone I got. So I don't know why the YouTube live where it won't pick up. Well, I don't know why the Google Meet won't pick it up, you know. I just don't know why. But it's something else I can figure out. Okay. All right. Sister Love for All, can you just summarize what you had said to us regarding the 3 days of darkness?
Yes. Okay. We're seeing what breaking through the darkness looks like our life. Now, in Egypt, look at we see what we are. In Egypt, in Russia, the workers are but in the rest of Egypt, are not happy. Now, a lot of people wish to die. Okay? In the darkness. But we see what they are. So even though the people in darkness are coming into his heart, they have to learn. They're not going to be harmed.
All right, thank you, sis. What she basically saying that remember when Moshe was taking a cloud, he too also was in darkness when he went to Mount Sinai. She also touched on the plague of darkness in Egypt, and she was pointing out, notice that Goshen had light because that's where the Israelites dwell, and Egypt did not. She also pointed out too that those who are under our Father, we're going to know firsthand when this plague is coming, and we're going to be what? Prepared. And because we are what? Sealed in the blood of the Lamb, that is Pesach. And because we are what? Atoned from our sins, we will be protected from the plagues that come upon the earth. A great example of that can be found in Revelation chapter 9, when he unleashed the plague of the locusts. And notice that those who are sealed will not be harmed by the locusts. And because it's in English, when you see the word man or men, remember it can be inclusive of the female because Adam means male and female, for he called them Adam, which is in Genesis chapter 5. Okay, for my sister, Sister Evelyn, can you summarize what you just said?
Yeah. I just had a sense of urgency, like urgency to get these things, to get lamp, get oil. It wasn't. I didn't have a dream or anything like that. I just had it was more of a sense, to get these things.
Okay, so what our sister just shared with us, that it reminds her of the parable of the 10 virgin, and that how YAH has put in her heart to start collecting like oil lamps, things that she would need to use when this darkness to come. I'm still playing with this speaker over here because I'm trying to find where the mic is. So hopefully I place it closer. Y'all can hear what the panel is saying. Okay. All right. The next one is Sister Shirley. No, I'm sorry. I wasn't going in row. Do I have anyone else who wants to touch on the power of the 3 days of darkness? Do I have anyone else? Okay. So what I'm going to do is the last thing that we're going to go to before we get off, because we're getting close to that 2nd hour mark, and I don't want to make this too long on the YouTube live session, but I want to take you to Revelation 12. Revelations 12. Now I am going in the video description box. I want you to click on the 1611 version because you're going to need to read the chapter summary to understand what takes place. Because when you read certain verses, some people think it's the same, but it's not talking about the same group. And this is why you always see me greeting you as the bride of the Messiah, as the 144,000 and as the nation of Israel, which will go into what part 6 of the mystery of atonement and the feast of tabernacle. And the Father yesterday gave me a further revelation on it. So today I'm not giving y'all everything, but he has given me a further revelation on what occurred when the Messiah resurrected from the grave when he spoke to Mary. He's going to have me to explain it or give a further detail on what he said unto Mary Magdalene, or Miriam. You definitely don't want to miss that. Okay, so, and that's going to be in part 6. Part 6. I put all the other parts that's dealing with the mystery of atonement and the mystery of tabernacles. Because when you understand those mysteries, do you understand how to prepare oneself? And I ain't talking about physical things together. I'm talking about what takes place in you. Okay? Because if you want to be shielded and protected, if you want to have a God, which is the light, to lead you and what to do in these times, because we know he's visiting the earth, then you need to get in this preparation, which is the Father now reminding me when we look at the calendar on the 14th day, that's the day before the 7th-day rest that you read in Exodus. I'm trying to think what chapter. It's either Exodus 16, but he give us the days where his Shabbats fall on. So the 14th day, even in the Bible, is known as the day of preparation. The day of preparation. So even that day is speaking volumes unto us, speaking a message unto us. He's telling us to what? To prepare yourselves. You have to be prepared because his visitation is here now. And those who are not prepared is going to partake in those judgments that's coming upon the world. Okay? So we're going to go to Revelations chapter 12 to give you understanding about these 3 days of darkness that is coming. And just touch on that lightly because I want you to meditate on it. And I highly recommend that you read the book of Enoch. Okay? The book of Enoch. Yes. Oh, you want to go ahead and say it now?
It'll be fine. I need not interrupt you because you know here this is what I told to share because the Lord showed me as you were talking, and what he showed me was this. He reminded me of the dream he gave me. I was there outside. It was a big mansion. And these foreign lands were coming out.
Okay, we repeat what you said. Okay, I'm going to repeat. I'm going to repeat what you said because that mic is not coming on. So he gave Sister, wait a minute, Sister Shirley. What Sister Shirley is saying, y'all, that the Father gave her a dream. Okay. And what happened in that dream, sis? I had to repeat what you say. So, give me a chance to come in and repeat what you say. So in this dream, wait a minute, sis. In this dream that she had, she saw the fallen angels falling out of the sky of the heavens. Okay. She was wondering why no one else was not looking up but her. But the dream made her realize that they couldn't even see her. So the people began to holler and scream. in fear of these fallen angels. She said he reminded her that the 3 days of darkness is not dealing with just one thing or one judgment. It is a threefold thing that would come to pass. She said the Father showed her they being kicked out of heaven, which we go into Revelation 12. And what would confirm that Revelation 12 is saying that you got to go back to the book of Job, the book of Zechariah, when he talks about Joshua the high priest, even the book of Jude. And it will show you that Satan still have access within the heavens. Remember, he is the angel of death and destruction. Hold on, I'm going to cut this down some. Could be getting some feedback. Sis, if you can mute, I'm sorry, don't mute your mic. Hold on. I'm just going to turn the volume down. Okay, so if we can, yeah, I was saying, let me go back it up. The book of Job, the book of Zechariah, the book of Jude, it gives you examples that Satan does have access in the heavens where he can make a report to the Father. For in the video description box, when you read the sealed book of Mormon, the sealed book that I'm talking about is not the book of Mormon. This is another book, another sacred book that has been ordained for us to read. It will reveal that Satan was the watcher of the earth too. So he would have to make a report. So now we get a deeper understanding why the Messiah had to attain the office of the priesthood as well as the office of king. Because only the high priest can go before the Father in his throne room, which is the Holy of Holies, to plead on our behalf. Father's telling me, please read the book of Job and you will see an example of this to show you that Satan do have access in the heavens to make a report to the Father. Even with, remember about Peter, what the Messiah warned Peter about, that Satan's looking to shift him. What? To go to the Father and tell him, look, I got one of your servants. Another proof is Revelation. Notice what the Messiah has to do to him. Because he's not bound right now. He is not bound. Even the gospel, the Father's reminded me, is he not the principality of the air? Okay. All right, sis, is anything else?
So he was saying, because this is a bigger thing than before, and you know what
Okay, hold that on. Hold on, sis. Let me get that part to him. She said, she mentioned Revelation, showing you that he will be kicked out of heaven. A great war is about to happen in heaven. Okay. And once he kicked out, because he know his time is short, what that means, he know that he's going to receive his judgment for what he did. He know that he's going to be bound. So he's going to release great havoc upon the earth. He's angry. He's upset. Okay. All right. Go ahead, sis.
stay in your homes, have your curtains up.
Stay in your homes, have your curtains up. Don't go outside. because the demons, the fallen ones, going to be within the darkness. And do not open your door to anyone. They will mimic your family's and friends' voice. That's the part I added, what we discussed last night, but keep going. She, okay, hold on, sis. She said, the Father said, these are the days of those that belong to him will be protected. This is very important. This is where your faith come in, because y'all gonna hear some strange stuff than ever before. But he's wanting you to stay in your home, just like the children of Israel in the days of Egypt. Okay, so you can be what, under his protection. And she said, look at these 3 days as a time to pray, fast, and be in his presence. Okay, go ahead, sis. Okay, well, I turn the speaker down for a second, sis. I'm typing this part in the box. When the 3 days of darkness is over, there will be bodies everywhere, worldwide. Okay, everywhere, worldwide. Okay, so when we're talking about this darkness, think about this. You won't have no electric, so make sure you have some water already, stored up some, so you have enough to bathe yourself and drink, because it's only 3 days, y'all. It ain't like it's gonna be forever. And just enough to get through the 3 days. Or you can use the 3 days just to fast. Okay? Think about other ways how you can cook in your home without the use of electricity, without burning down your place. Please get the wisdom of YAH in this. Don't be thinking foolishly. But the key mark is, do not open your door. Do not open your window. Okay? Because once you open an entrance, they can come in. And you know what disobedience leads to? What? Rebelliousness or disobedience leads to what? Death and destruction. Death and destruction. Okay, sis, is there anything else?
Helping one another in this time, getting things together. This is what wants unity out of us. Unity. So that's all I have to share for now.
Okay. Okay. This is the time, she said, now that what he wants us to show love to one another. He wants us to be a family to one another. He wants to us to have faith and not be in fear. I'm just paraphrasing what you said, sis. Try to remember everything. Do not be in fear, because in other words, there's some things that's about to pop off that we are not used to, or that we have not seen. And some of us, because we are his servants, we already experienced that. I'm a witness. I had dealt with some of them, and I had to rebuke them. Okay, the servants knows about this. Okay, but for the masses, y'all have not experienced this. So this is why it's so important to get connected to him. How do you get connected to him? You have to receive salvation. You have to believe in his son. Now there are those he gonna have mercy on. This is where the sanctified one shall what? Say sanctify the whole household. Because of us praying and interceding for the others. They've too received the same protection, because when you read the book of Jasper, Moses' adopted mother, who was an Egyptian, she was a firstborn too. He did not take her life because of Moses being a sanctified one, and because she was under his protection. Okay, he will have mercy on the nation of Israel according to their hearts, because there gonna be some I think he's gonna take out because they at a point where he can't do nothing with them. Okay, only some, not all. Okay, these are the one where their time is up. Okay. I've been fellowshipping with Sister Shirley for a while, and that is one of her gifts she bear from the Spirit. All right. Remember, the Father said in Torah, in Numbers 11, Numbers 12, Joel chapter 2, Acts chapter 2. He's going to send you his messengers himself to prepare you. Now, you can be hard-headed and not listen. But when you meet your Creator, you cannot say, I was not warned, because your life is going to flash before you and say, yes, she was. Here go this sister right here. She's telling you. So you can go ahead and believe these Pharisees and these Sadducees and Herodians of today. You can go believe them. But there's no spirit upon them. They're dead. And if some of them live through this judgment, it's because y'all have mercy upon them. Because you know what's going to be next. The Exodus, the gathering. And in that wilderness, he's going to what? Purge out the rebels. He done said it. He's going to purge them out. So, it is time for you to get connected. It is time for you to receive the light and to come out of darkness. That's what Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 through 5 represent. Coming out of the darkness and into the light. So, to prepare for the visitation of YAH, to prepare for it, it starts in here first. Okay? You need to meditate and talk unto him, because when he begins to remove the things of the light, such as your lights, your food, or your favorite food, or the things that you shop for, even down to you fellowshipping with certain people, like being able to go out at any time. When he removed that, we don't need to be complaining like our ancestors did, like the ancient Israelites did. We don't need to be complaining anymore. I'm sorry, we don't need to be complaining at all, because if you start to complain, that's going to grieve our Father in heaven, because he was like, don't my children see what I'm doing? And they complaining? Just like our ancestors. He brought them out of Egypt, set them free from slavery, set them free from the dragon. Okay? In the wilderness, he was taking care of them, showing them divine powers, feeding them from feeding them with the bread of heaven, which was the angel foods, which represent what? The Messiah as being the bread of heaven. But he was feeding them with that, giving them what? Sweet water to drink, which represent what? The fountains. No, we represent the living waters. He was good, giving them sweet waters to drink. And they still was complaining. They was talking about what they had in Egypt. I'm telling you now, because I came across someone that I really care about. Father's telling you to cut the ties of this world. Cut it. Meditate. Look within your heart and see if there's anything there that needs to be what? Cut off. Because if you desire this world, then you will receive the judgments of this world. Because you're not ready for his kingdom. You're not ready for the world that he has coming for you. Okay? All right. We're going to end this discussion on the YouTube Live. and we're going to keep going on with the Most High Calendar. But we want to say thank you for joining us today. Now, if there's somebody you want to reach out, I know our brother Ron had to leave, but let me know so I can give you their contact information. Please call me at 919-972-8970. We also have Sister Sherry, who gave us the prophecy of what the 3 days of darkness will bring, because she says it's 3 folds to it. Remember that. If you want to reach out to her, let me know. We have Brother Bishop Rob. He let me know that the Spirit told him we are in Jubilee, which is what? Liberty, the light. We have here Sister LaFall, and then Sister Evelyn. With your dream, because I really need for you to speak it where the people can hear themselves. I tell you what, Mom, what I'm going to do with you, I'm going to call you back later on today, and we're going to talk with Sister Evelyn where you can hear her dream where the Father gave her to her. But it's time in this session that they need to hear the dream of what the Father gave to her. Okay? And we'll do that. And I'm going to bring you back in, so just stay by your phone, okay? Because we're still not done yet. Sister Evelyn, I'm going to be calling you on my phone, so you may have to mute your mic on the Google Meet, and even you may have to come back in because I don't know if your phone will allow you to do 2 things at once. And that's what I can do next time. If I need for y'all to speak, y'all call me. We're gonna figure this out one way or another. That's right. That's right. So I'm calling you now.
Hello?
Okay, Shalom, sis.
Okay. I think I did get disconnected on the other phone, but that's okay.
Uh-huh. I want you to speak loud and clear.
Okay. Okay. I had a vision one night. The world was coming to an end. I was watching what was going on. Just before Yah was going to destroy the whole world, he stopped time to get his elected people. The vision changed. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. The vision changed into like a courtroom. And let me just explain the courtroom. It's not like the courtroom that you're sitting in court with the judge. You know, it was an office room, and there was a lot of business going on, paperwork going on. It was a big office. Okay, and the angels went and collected all this information there. So there was a huge stack of papers, and someone began to stamp each paper. It went extremely fast. It's like the paper was going through like you would see a copier paper going fast, going fast. And meanwhile, it was being stamped with something like it looked like a hammer type thing, but it had inscribed on it, paid in full, on each paper. Okay. During this process, the churches were being judged, and every church had been deceived, and everyone had been deceived. In the meantime, the ancient Israelites who were dead, they were in this dark place waiting to be free. But in order to be free, they had to be an Israelite without sin. Someone shouted, "We have someone," and it was the human body of Yeshua. He was able found worthy to freedom. After all the papers had been stamped, paid in full, the angels gathered all the Israelites, and they were black people. One angel took a while to get to collect his people, but when he got there, he apologized and he said, "I'm sorry for being late. Most of my people were in prison or in jail." And I remember saying, "Oh, that had to be America. That had to be our people in America." But they were all put in white robes. The robes were illuminated according to their life on earth. They ranged from very dull to extremely bright, like a glowing, but glowing brightly. There were Gentiles that were there also in white robes. People were put in categories. All of the Israelites were given full access to heaven. They were given mansions to live in, and it was an extremely beautiful place to live. God, Yah the Father, and Yeshua Yah the Father and Yeshua became one, and he said that he would be with us forever. The Gentiles who had gave their lives to Yeshua went to live in the New Jerusalem that the Lord had prepared, that the Most High had prepared for them. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful city, and they were very happy. There were also a place prepared for people who had just made it. It was a huge, spacious type room. It wasn't a home. It was just a big, spacious like room, and they all lived there together. Each group of people, they couldn't intertwine with each other. They intertwined with each other by their groups, and that's all I remember from that vision.
Thank you, sis. Look, stay on this phone if you want to have something to add. So she had touched on everything we had said in this beginning. Okay. The scriptures or the chapters you want to read is Revelation 7. Revelation 7, chapter 12. Okay. When you read Revelation chapter 12, what I want to point out to you, for those who have the 1611, the Bible summary is going to clarify verse 6. But verse 6 is talking about when she was delivered, she fleeth into the wilderness. Now, in the upcoming parts, we're going to talk about this wilderness that is talked about in Atonement, Leviticus 16. But then when you read further down, you're going to see wilderness again. Those are two separate events. Those dealing with two separate groups. Sister, what she prophesies from what the Father gave unto her in this vision confirm what the word taught me. Remember, it's always going to be what? 2 or 3 witnesses. Some he give by vision. Some he give by the interpretation of the word that comes by the Spirit only. Okay? Some he gives by what? Hearing into what the spiritual realm is saying. Okay? Our Father operates in many different ways, but it comes down to the same message. Another thing she pointed out was these black angels. Yes, the angels are black. And the heathens will hear that from you because that's who they worship too. Proof of that, read Ezekiel chapter 1 and Ezekiel chapter 40. We'll touch on that. It's proof in the Bible about the original appearance of these angels if they didn't glow in that light. Okay? See, these are things. And there's a painting over there in the old world, I think it's Romania, showing you black angels putting a representation of Edom, because they have red hair and white bodies, into the river of blood. And it goes with Matthew 13 and Revelation 14. Okay? Now we know that those that will receive that judgment, that only deal with Edom, who do not what? Ask for repentance and do what is right inside the Father's eyes. But it's dealing with everyone. Okay, everyone who turns their back on the Father and the Son, who reject the promises, who reject the gospel. So those are the ones that's going to face that judgment. Remember, our Father in heaven is a righteous God. So he's righteous with what? With all his children, and he's not a respect of person. So if you reject his son, like the son said, no one can come to the Father but by me. If you reject his son, guess what? You reject him. Now, for the nation of Israel, they are given another chance. But when you read what the prophets wrote, what they got to go through with that another chance, dealing with Romans 11, dealing with having mercy upon them again, you're going to see Father ain't playing. He's purging. Okay? So your faith will determine what group you're going to be in. And I'm glad she brought out the groups that's in the kingdom of heaven to come, because he will have a separation. So for the Israelites who get, what's the word I could say? Who get envious of the Gentiles, shame on you, because if you look at the Gentiles, they are the children. They are made by our Father in heaven. So if they repent too and do what is right in the sight of our Father's eyes, they should be able to come in too. Why do you want them to go to captivity, which is Sheol, where those principalities are? That tells me a lot about your heart. Because to be a great leader or to be a ruling nation, you have to know what it's like to be at the bottom, what it's like to serve. Then when you know what the bottom's like, then you know how to rule greatly. And I can go on and on. But I think this is enough. Let me make sure I put in chapter 7, chapter 12, 2nd Ezra, chapter 2, and Matthew chapter 24, because that's what the eagle wings is talking about. Angels that the Father's going to send to help us in these last days. It's not going to come by no man's hand. Okay? Remember, the Father's jealous. He's very jealous. And he don't want nobody to take his honor and glory. That's where Ezekiel chapter 39, but Ezekiel 38 and 39 come in. Until he get his honor and glory from Adam and from the Israelites first, then he's going to recognize the children of Israel. That's how he got it set up. All right, sis, anything else you want to say?
No.
Okay, come on back into the Google Meet. We're going to finish the other part.
Okay.
Okay, so let me bring back the other sister, our mother. This brings us to the end, but it's more to come. Stay tuned for the, keep checking the channel, see what the Father give me to put out.
Yes, I'm in.
Okay, shalom. So keep, checking the channel to see what the Father gave to me to put out, to share. Oh, sis, I hear you. And if you want to reach out to anyone like Sister Love for All, Brother Rob, Brother Bishop Rob, Sister Sherry, Sister Evelyn, and I got some more people that I've been talking to, but they didn't have the time to come on the panel today because the Father's bringing them out, letting you know what he told them. He ain't giving it to these Pharisees. He ain't giving it to the ones who ordained themselves and made himself a leader. He ain't giving it to them. He ain't dealing with them. Okay? He's dealing with what? The first fruits, the elect, the cream of the crop, the cream of the crop, which are his servants. Okay? Right? All right. Make sure that y'all continue to preach and let the people know to receive salvation as written in Romans chapter 10. Baptize them in the name of YAHUAH HaMashiach, for the Lamb set the example of the water baptism and the Holy Spirit baptism, and his apostles continue it. So if you don't have anyone like the mother shared with us in the beginning of this video, she baptized herself. So go in your bathroom, baptize yourself, because as you see, as these players come upon the earth, I know some people be running in that bathroom or trying to get some water and hurry baptize themselves because they want to come on in. And you know the Father operate in mysterious ways, because did not the thief on the cross come on in at the last minute? Did not the Messiah tell him, you shall be with me in paradise? Okay. Love y'all all. We say shalom, shalom, and good afternoon. Continue in your Shabbat, continue in your Feast of Tabernacles. And the reason why y'all don't hear me say happy yet, because we ain't there yet. But I understand why y'all say happy, because it feels good to partake what the Father say is holy. It feels good to partake on what he ordained. So I understand if you say it. So don't look at me being judgmental or criticized against you. I'm not going to speak on that when you greet me. All right. But enjoy the day that the Father has made, for this is a day to rejoice and be glad in it. Shalom.